Hi boys and girls, today we are going to get started mapping out our under the sea cool warm scene. And this is the example you saw in your lesson. We're going to work from this as inspiration for our drawing, and then we'll have a drawing created where we can practice remembering which colors are cool and which colors are warm. This is Mrs. Scott.
Hello.
And you're going to be seeing me draw from overhead. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is your paper. If you can pick up some 80-pound paper from the store, they sell them sometimes in like a tablet form. Also, you can buy them loosely in some places. So you can check Walmart, Meijer, and I know for sure they have them at a place like Michael's. But you need to be looking for 80-pound because when we begin to use markers, Sharpie, and especially watercolor paint, the paper won't hold up unless it's 80-pound or more. So just see if you can pick some up when you can. That's what we use most of the time at school. Okay, so what we're gonna do is start out with a pencil, a Sharpie, and our eraser. That's all you'll need for today. And as always, we're going to start by adding our name and class code, our name and then our class code. So I'm going to pretend I'm second grade Mrs. Nellison by putting a 2N there. Then you're going to turn your paper over. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is I'm going to let you know that I'm drawing with Sharpie, but you're going to be drawing with your pencil. So that you can erase. I just want you to be able to see my drawing better. Just remember the artist's tip, draw light till you get it right. If you press hard with your pencil, it's very hard to erase it fully. You're gonna always see that a little bit on your paper. But if you just lightly press till you get it the way you want it, if you make a mistake and have to erase it, you don't even see it at all. So just an artist's tip, draw light till you get it right. Don't push really hard on that pencil. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the water line. So we're going to come down from the top about a third. So if I was going to divide up the paper in 3 pieces, this would be the top third. I'm just going to draw a gently wavy line. That's my water line. That would also be the horizon. Sometimes the horizon line is completely straight. Ours is going to be curved. That's also where you get the word horizontal, because of the horizon line that goes horizontal across. The next thing we're going to do is work on our fish. And the fish start with a gently curved line on top and a gently curved line on bottom. But I want you to be really careful that you don't make your fish too small, because you won't see some of the really neat details we're going to put in if you make it too small. So think about it being as long as your thumb at least when you make these lines. So here's my top line, here's my bottom line, and it kind of reminds me of an almond or a football shape. And then for the tail, we're going to draw a diagonal line up and a diagonal line down, and then we're going to connect them. And that's going to be our tail. You can add some accent lines on your tail while you're there. And if at any point this is going too fast for you to draw, just press pause and catch up, and then you can press play again when you're ready to keep going. Next thing we're going to do is mark off where the face is. With a curved line toward the front, we're going to mark off the face. We're going to put a small dot and then a larger circle around it for the eye. And then you can choose the way you want to draw your mouth. I'm going to draw it like this. In our original picture, it has a smile there. So you choose how you would like to do that. Then we're going to draw something very similar to what we did here, except it's going to be a lot skinnier. It's going to be a lot thinner. So we're going to go not so drastic of a diagonal line. And we're going to connect it here and here. And you can draw a few little thin lines on there. Next, we're going to work on the top. We're going to go up, over, and it's kind of like drawing a mohawk on your fish. And then divide it up into sections like this. for a fin on top. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to divide our fish in half this way, and we're going to give it some kind of a pattern. The ones in the example have dots. You could do stripes, you could do triangles, you could do something else that you think of. So you choose what type of a pattern you would like, but this makes our fish interesting to go ahead and add a pattern there. All right, the next step for us is to add two more fish. We're gonna add one here and one over here. And this one, I'm gonna make it going off the page to make it a little more interesting to look at. Sometimes artists put things going off the page so that it leads your eye around the page. Then mohawk. These are all from the same school of fish, so they all have these similar parts. And maybe on this one, I will add stripes instead of dots, just for fun. All right, and then lastly, I'm going to put my last fish over this direction, and I think I'll also have him partly going, I want to show his tail, so I'm going to move him a little more to the middle. Round on top, round on bottom, diagonal, diagonal, connect. I have my sidekick over here, so if you're hearing her noises, that's my daughter. She's making sure that I'm doing all of this right. Sometimes she tells me if I'm not. And for this last one, I think I'll add zigzag lines this way for the detail. What's that you say? Mrs. Scott, you forgot the mohawk. You're right, guys, I did. Let's add that mohawk so he matches the other fish in the school. Now, go ahead and draw some bubbles. Small, medium, bigger. Not 1,000 bubbles, just a few for each fish. Okay, and then the next step is we're simply going to divide what we have left here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is what I have room for. Okay, we're going to go ahead and divide these into layers, and you'll see what we'll do with those when we get to the color section. And then lastly, we're going to create a big, almost complete circle. It's like the sun that's going down. And inside it has a swirl. And last year we practiced some swirls. You start in the middle with a dot, and then you go around the dot. So hopefully you remember how to do a swirl.
What is that?
And then we're just going to do, you can look at the picture if you would like and make your sun's rays more curvy if you feel advanced, but I'm just going to do mine with very long, sharp points. If you want to be more fancy, you can look at the example and you can be as fancy as you want for those. That one's not exactly perfect, but that's okay. Nothing has to be perfect. All right, so this is all set up now for our project. The last thing you're going to do today is you're going to, since you drew in pencil, now you're going to go back over and trace all those pencil lines slow and carefully. Remember that the reason we take that extra effort to trace with the Sharpie is so that these are nice bold lines for when we add color. and they won't get lost in the color. Because like I said, if I draw this line here, you can't hardly see it, but you can see all my Sharpie lines. And that's kind of what it is like when we have only lines made of pencil. We won't see them hardly at all once we add color. All right, so trace every line and bubble with your Sharpie next. Take your time, and then that's the end of our steps for today.